An independent Scotland would never be allowed back into the EU. This probably dates back from the stage where the Spanish in the first independence referendum were very, very hostile to Scottish re-entry, obviously because they were dealing with their own situation in Catalonia. Actually, however, at the time, what they were saying was that Scotland couldn't just stay in. Essentially, it would have to leave the EU and rejoin as a separate state. And there's not a single country in Europe, fullfact.org have checked it, that currently has a problem with Scotland's re-entry, if that's what its population wants.
Scotland would never be allowed back in the EU. Ha nee. Who are you kidding with this myth? I've got a Masters in European Union law, so I can tell you that according to Article 49 of the Treaty of the European Union, any European state can apply to be a member. This includes Scotland. Of course we could rejoin. There are no rules in international law, European law, or domestic law which prohibit Scotland from applying to be a member.
It would be interesting to have the opportunity of joining EFTA or to think seriously and credibly about joining EFTA. I don't think we need to hang ourselves on the nail of absolute EU membership or give any nation, any major European EU nation, a veto on us in terms of our proximity to Europe. I think we should avail ourselves of the EFTA option.
Scotland will never be allowed back into the EU. Well, that's plainly wrong, just as it was wrong in 2014 when people were told that they had to vote no to independence to protect their EU membership. In fact, the opposite happened and we've been dragged out of the EU against our will. The EU is an expansionist organisation by its very nature. It wants more members. Couple with that the fact that Scotland has been a member for decades. The reality is that it's being part of the UK, which could mean that Scotland's never able to join the EU. Only as an independent country could we make that decision for ourselves.
Hello, I'm Richard Murphy, and I've just read a tweet that says Scotland can never afford to be independent because it requires England to subsidise it. This is based upon a completely fabricated accounting statement made up by, well, since 1992, by the Scottish Government itself, I regret to say, and it's called GERS, the Government Expenditure and Revenue Scotland Statement. This document is fabricated because it does not show what an accountant, and I am a chartered accountant, would call a true and fair view of Scotland's financial position. Why? Because it only gives information on the income arising in Scotland, but it gives expenditure on what the UK claims is expenditure for Scotland. Most of the figures in GERS remain estimates, particularly on the income side. Scotland is presumed to bear a whole share of the UK's foreign policy, but it won't be doing that in the future. Scotland is presumed to be bearing a whole share of the defence expenditure of the UK, but it probably won't be incurring anything like that cost in the future. It's entirely unreasonable to expect Scotland to bear that whole cost. And the result is, let's be blunt, that the GERS statement shows that a substantial part of the deficit of the UK arises entirely because of the activities, bizarrely, of Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. A small part of the overall population apparently create about half the total UK deficit. No, they don't. It's just accounting nonsense. As a chartered accountant, I can make numbers add up to almost anything you like. And this is a statement that is made to add up to make Scotland look as if it's dependent on England. Is Scotland actually going to be? No. Vast amounts of interest are paid in Scotland. And they're paid to banks and other financial institutions. Who pay tax on that? Where are they taxed? In England. Where will they be taxed in the future? In Scotland. There are lots of rents paid in Scotland that are paid to England. Where will they be taxed in the future? In Scotland. Where are they taxed now? In England. So does Scotland depend upon England for a subsidy? And will it be bankrupt in the future if it doesn't have that subsidy? No. The subsidy is literally made up. I'm sorry to say, this is nonsense accounting meant to deceive, and which it has deceived. Don't fall for what they have.